When did a coworker absolutely deserve to be fired? I worked in IT as a project manager. A young guy in his 20s came in with a fantastic resume, and self-taught most of his skills, but that's actually a bonus in the IT world. Great phone interview. So we hired him for an entry-level position. We jokingly called him the intern because I was only a year or two older than him, so people were constantly confused about who was running the team. He had been there for about 1 month when I asked him to run into the server room and plug a thumb drive into one of the servers because I needed to hop onto a call. Not a big deal, everyone knows what USB ports are, right? I told him if there wasn't space in one of the ports on the back, the HP DL360s and DL365s had ports on the front as well. They just need to be in a specific server and our servers were labeled. Super easy mode. He disappears, comes back, and I'm on a call, so I wasn't paying much attention. When the call started talking about a piece of a project I had nothing to do with, I started trying to finish my work on the server, and I needed some files copied over. No thumb drive is being detected on that server. Okay, maybe he accidentally put it in the one above or the one below? I log into those servers and check. Nothing. So I start thinking, okay, maybe it's plugged in but the port itself is bad? Maybe a weak connection? The call finishes, and I say, hey, I think maybe that server might have a bad port, want to come to check it with me? So we go over to the server room, badge in, and walk over to my server racks. He had somehow managed to jam the USB thumb drive diagonally into one of the Ethernet ports. He actually broke some of the plastic casing off the Ethernet port, it was jammed in there so tight. Neither of us could pull it out. I had to go get one of the older guy engineers to yank it out. Somehow the USB drive still worked in the USB port when I plugged it in. The whole time, this kid is looking more and more embarrassed. I kept telling him it was fine and talking through what I was doing. I had him stand right beside me and I named off the different ports on the back of the servers and what they did, what they connected to, etc. I wasn't trying to embarrass him, but I knew I was going to have to get the story out of him on why he didn't use the obvious clues of the USB and the Ethernet port being totally different shapes. He wouldn't say anything. He just said he made a mistake and it's fixed now, so it's no issue. He forgot that he had been so excited to work there, with me being basically the same age, that he had added me on Facebook. He actually posted a rant on Facebook about how he's always having to fix my mistakes, and how it's demeaning to him to have a woman who knows nothing as a manager when women should be confined to the home and should only concern themselves with children. He also complained about me assigning him tasks that were needlessly complicated because he claimed I was trying to set him up to fail. I wasn't. I didn't say anything, I just took a screenshot of his post, and the comments he and his friends were making, commenting on my looks, printed them, and after he left I left a copy on his desk with a note that said we needed to have a team meeting the following day. The following morning he came in about 15 minutes after me, saw his post sitting on his desk, and he didn't even put his stuff down, he just turned around and walked off. He left and never came back. Never answered his phone. Never said he quit. Just straight walked out. Depending on what he had said, I was absolutely about to fire him, and at the very least, I was going to make sure a copy of his post and comments were sitting in his HR file because some of the comments alluded to how I needed to be assaulted. I knew he was talking big online but was pretty sure he didn't have the guts to actually do anything. But a threat is a threat, so I was covering my back in case he escalated. Come to find out, his resume was stolen from his brother. His brother, who is a year younger than him, is the one that did the interviews. They look and sound enough alike, they're even the same height, that it wasn't super obvious that it wasn't the same guy. There were minor differences but I just chalked them up to him having his hair combed differently and he was wearing more casual clothes. When I started cleaning everything up, I found that he was maybe running the daily reports once a week. He had somehow convinced the stakeholders that he had totally taken that over, so they stopped copying me on emails. I had to write out a new script to run a month's worth of daily reports so I could send them out, and apologize to everyone. I found out from one of the other teams that he had told them that I was about to leave that job because I had been offered a job somewhere else. He was basically trying to stealth take over my job even though he didn't know how to do it. I don't know what he thought was going to happen, like if I was going to just agree to do his entire job while he got paid for doing nothing, but we never saw him again. We mailed him his last check, letting him know that we needed his badge back. It was already disabled, but they still have to be turned in. He mailed his badge in. I looked him up about a year ago on Facebook, and he's currently in prison for check fraud and identity theft.